guys, what's up? It's Darkmeg here and welcome back. So, Battle for Azeroth release date has been announced, August the 14th. How do we feel about this? I am in two minds. So, obviously, I'm excited and it's awesome. I just didn't expect it to be this soon. I wasn't prepared for it to be bought so far forward into August. It was just the other day on stream, I was saying that I was kind of bored of Legion, and sometimes I actually enjoy that part of the expansion because I can just not play as much, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. But this kind of really gave me a shock to the system. I was like, holy shit! It's time to get ready. It's time to start again. The Ferris wheel starts again. The level grind, the gear grind, learning raiding counters, it all starts again, and it is coming quickly now. So in terms of Mage Tower skins, I best get myself moving, and I just honestly now I can't see myself finishing 36 of them. I'm just way too lazy. So around this release we had a Battle for Azeroth's press conference and we had some dev interviews. In the video today I'm just going to give you a rundown of some of that stuff if you haven't seen it. So some of the new stuff we got from the Battle for Azeroth press conference, the Dark Iron Dwarves and the Mag'har Orcs will be the first two new allied races kicking off. So you will play through the war campaign at release and you'll be able to unlock those two new allied races. The Kaltirans and the Zandalari Trolls will come later on in the expansion after we've done a number of quests and unlocked them and earned them to our factions. There's also going to be another round of realm connections coming along, so stay tuned for that. The 8.0, the pre-patch to Battle for Azeroth, is likely to come out a couple of weeks before the actual expansion launch, similar to the way it's worked in past expansions, so no real huge surprise there. Ian did say not to quote him directly on it, but generally that's how it's worked in the past. The pre-patch is going to contain content allowing us to experience the burning of Tedrasol and the Battle of Lordaeron. So there's going to be content in Darkshore, it's going to be real story-driven quest content, replayable outdoor skirmishes, versing elites and things like that. And Wowhead have actually gone ahead and data mined mount themes around the Night Elves and the Forsaken that most likely tie into that event as well, but it's all kind of speculation at the moment. There's also going to be some awesome animated art pieces that we've seen previously, and that'll all tie into how Tedrasol catches on fire, so that is going to be awesome. Some of the other things to come out of the press release, and just even recaps if you've forgotten about what we're sort of going to be getting. Obviously, Warlords of Draenor had garrison campaigns. They then evolved that idea into Legion, into Order Halls. We're getting another evolution of this in BFA in war campaigns. So war campaigns are going to be really similar like that, and we're going to be earning, similar rewards and things like that. It's just another aspect to the game, I suppose, if that's something you've enjoyed from Draenor to Legion now going into BFA. The Alpha is going to last longer, because one of the things I thought about when I saw this was like, Alpha hasn't really been running that long. Are we just going to sweep straight into Beta now? What's going to happen? They said the Alpha is actually going to last longer than Alphas from previous expansions, and this is because the Beta is actually being treated as an opportunity to just polish features now. So not all features are obviously visible in Alpha yet, but they're getting a lot of the tuning and things like that out of the way on Alpha, so Beta will be shorter and it'll just be about polishing those things to kick it off into the live launch. They stated patch 7.1 may have been released a little premature, but other than that they found the content pacing and Legion worked really well, so I expect to see similar things in BFA. There are going to be 6 faction contents. There's going to be 3 for each, the Horde and Alliance, and then there's going to be 2 neutral factions, the Tortolan and the Voice of Azeroth. Conquest gear is going to change for you PvP and Arena people out there. You will fill up a Conquest bar, much like you've done with your Honor points for Prestige, and you'll earn a weapon or a piece of gear each time you complete that journey to the end of the Conquest bar. Each week, after you earn another piece and you've completed a set, you will start earning more powerful items to complete more powerful sets. There wasn't much more on that, but that's pretty much how it's going to work. Very similar to that Prestige system, though you'll be doing it with Conquest and getting gear every time you hit the cap. Honor talents are now tied to player level, so they'll be unlocked as you level to 120. When you have War Mode on, which is the PvP toggle, you will be put on a Realm Shard with other players that have that toggle on. So I know a lot of people came out about what's going to happen when I toggle it on and off. That's pretty much the answer. It's called War Mode. You can choose to have it on or off. The devs are actually really curious at the moment in regards to why you wouldn't turn that on. And what's making people sort of shy away from turning War Mode on? Is it the fact that there's another player at the other end of that experience? Is it the attitude of that player? They're kind of trying to get an understanding of that at the moment. Around Warfronts, so the expansion will release with a 20-player Warfront in Arathi Highlands. There's going to be more coming out as we roll on, but it will release with the one in Arathi Highlands. Warfronts may change the outside world as well for us, whoever, depending on who controls it. So it'll be Horde or Alliance controlled at the time, and that'll grant special quests and world bosses for those who control it. Very much like Winterspring kind of vibe. Island expeditions. So island expeditions you'll be queuing for, like normal, heroic, mythic, and PvP difficulties. You can queue on your own, or you can queue in a group. You'll be doing that via an expedition table in Zoldazar Harbour for the Horde, or Borealis Harbour for the Alliance. The island expeditions are like the scenario revamp, so they're 3-player encounters. You can play whatever roles you want in there, though you obviously want to make sure you've got some coordination to go up against the opposing faction or AI. It's a first to 6,000 Azerite, and that's pretty much how the islands are going to work. There are 6 different island combinations at the moment, dozens of enemies and different structures, and there's 6 enemy groups per faction. Around from the dev interviews, on one more thing on Island Expeditions 2 that was really cool. Depending on who you go up against, the tactics of that will change. So if you've got like a Worgen AI, they'll be really aggressive. If it's a Tauren AI, they'll be less aggressive and try and kind of counterplay you and things like that. So that's going to be really interesting to see with Island Expeditions. Around the dev interviews, all content is being scaled down the same ratio with the stat squish, so soloing old content should not be affected, and you would not expect it to be affected, even though it was on alpha after the stat squish was first put in. Azerite power will be acquired pretty much the same fashion that we saw artifact power, so there's not going to be any huge shock to how that system's going to work. The dev interview stated with the team around raid design, they wanted to have a whole lot of raid encounter design so that classes have a chance to excel in certain things. They don't want people to be excluded from raids, but they certainly want to have different classes shine in different moments. Changing the old zones, there was a lot of questions around, updating old zones and things like that. Pretty much said, changing old zones is a double-edged sword. They don't want to mess with player nostalgia and take away those feelings of leveling up through those zones. New classes will be added when it makes sense for the story, and Ian said that pretty much all the way along. Same with allied races. Racials were brought up. The team doesn't want racials to stop them from being able to create new races, nor do they want people playing races just for those racials and being trapped into playing those racials. Much like, humans with PvP or, Blood Elves for Mystic Plus and things like that. There's nothing yet to announce around Volpera or Tortolan, as allied races, though I think we kind of all know where that's probably heading. The team wants to tell a story in Battle for Azeroth that isn't black and white around who started the conflict. So there's going to be a lot of story trying to flesh this one out, I think. And it's going to be really interesting to see where it goes. I don't think it's just going to be a Horde versus Alliance X-Pack. I think that's obviously the foundation for it, but there's going to be some bigger players in weight in this one. The advanced AI in the islands, as I said, all have different tactics. So that was sort of brought up, how each AI team has a theme appropriate to what they are, with the Worgens being aggressive or the Taurens trying to outplay you. So that will be really interesting. The devs stated that there are no plans for leaderboards for these. It's not at the moment pegged to be a competitive esport, though we'll just have to see how successful they are. Instead of getting new abilities or talents while we are leveling up, the bonuses from getting new gear will basically be the Azerite slots that we'll get in the pendant. So that's kind of going to fill that void. Paragon reputation caches are going to continue in BFA like we saw in Legion, but mount rewards with low drop rates are being pulled back. There's no plans. I've seen this on the forums heaps, where people are wanting Mythic Plus modifiers to be added into raids. They squashed that. There are no plans to have that done as yet. There's no plans to loosen up the transmog restrictions as of now, so they stated transmog's still in its infancy. They're still up for ways to how they can improve it and things like that, but they're not planning to loosen any of the restrictions based around transmogs at the moment, like with legendary items or equipping, two-handed swords and one-handers and things like that. When the focus dies down around allied races, as it's obviously a huge thing at the moment, the team's going to look at adding more customization for the current races that we have. And the last thing I wanted to mention was the decision to remove first aid happened because they feel as the game has evolved, classes with self-heals and things like that, they just don't think there's any need for first aid anymore. So that's the reason it's gone. So the last thing to come out of all the little hype news lately was the Battle for Azeroth's Collector's Edition was put up. So what you're getting for your $99.99 USD, you get a Horde and Alliance double-sided Mark of the Allegiance, so you can declare your allegiance with a hefty two-sided emblem. It comes with a stand. You get a hard-covered double-sided book, Allergy and a Good War, which is a hardback. It's got, I think it's got about 35k worth of words in it, so it's like a short novel. Artwork, story, it looks really cool. There's the digital versions of it as well that you'll get, and you'll also get a download for the Battle for Azeroth soundtrack with all the orchestral music. So that is it, guys. That is all the kind of WoW news that's going on at the moment. Obviously, the biggest thing out of that is the release date of August the 14th. So I am curious as to how people are about this. Is everyone just pumped, excited, ready to push Legion aside and get stuck into this? Do you still want more time? How are you feeling? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Thank you very much for checking out the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. See you, guys.